Hey, 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 happy Thursday. Come on in, pull up a chair. The Gaming Gang Dispatch is in the air. Howdy, gang, and welcome once again to the Duct Tape Studios. I'm Jeff McAleer, your host here at the Gaming Gang channel. Brought to you by, shockingly enough, thegaminggang.com, of which I happen to be the founder and editor-in-chief. So welcome aboard, everybody. Tonight is Thursday, March 7th, 2024. This is live stream 1030. If you're not overly familiar with this show, let me point out, super casual around here. Just hanging out, talking about the latest in tabletop gaming news. And I'll normally pontificate a bit about things going on in our hobby. But we are certainly not engaged in rocket surgery or anything along those lines by any stretch of the imagination. Now, of course, when you're not watching videos here on the channel, be sure to visit thegaminggang.com for all latest in tabletop gaming news, reviews, and a whole lot more you will not find here on the channel. You know the drill. Get your geek on at thegaminggang.com. Also, this is a live show, so that means there is chat available. Now, that chat's not on screen. It's one of the ways I keep some of the more unusual commenters at bay. But if you happen to be a subscriber to the channel for at least 48 hours, that's yet another way that I keep some of the more unusual commenters at bay. And you want to say howdy? Maybe you've got a question, a comment. Maybe there's something you'd like us to discuss after the news session or section or portion of the show. By all means, chime in. I will do my best to respond. First out the gate tonight is a testy Trekkie. Kevin R. Smith is with us, as is our friend of the show, the Madman. Yes, who also happens to be one of our chat moderators. I wouldn't be surprised if another of our chat moderators happens to be lurking around tonight. And that would be Miss Sarah D. Chris Lundgren is hanging out, as is Kathy Evans, Wild Hunter, Geraldine, and I think that's everybody in chat so far. Yes, as the Madman points out, happy Friday Eve. So, Chris Lundgren says that they're home resting. It's been a rough day with their blood sugars. This is making them feel better. Oh, don't put that kind of pressure on me. Come on. I can't improve anybody's health. I could certainly probably raise people's blood pressures easily. But I don't know if I make people feel better. Anyway, let's jump on into the news because I've got quite a bit of it tonight. Well, actually, I have 5 news pieces like I always do, but got some videos too, as Kabuki Kid enters the fray, as does Russell Higgins. Welcome to you both. Double K's in the house. Arriving next month is Stone Spire Architects from Thunderworks Games. Here's the latest. Dungeon crafting is an ancient Minotaur art that you've studied for a decade under Master Hortgully. To demonstrate your skill as your final project, you must carve your own perilous labyrinth into the base of these Stone Spire Mountains. Players simultaneously draft and play cards to expand their dungeons one chamber at a time. Follow a unique blueprint and compete in a variety of scoring challenges. Choose between mapping a path through your underground tunnels, placing key elements in your rooms, or searching for extra riches. Spend gold between rounds to customize your labyrinth with monsters, traps, treasures, and secret passages. After 4 years, the player with the most treacherous dungeon will earn the title of Master Architect. So in the game, you're going to draft chamber cards to expand your dungeon. Cards feature monsters, traps, and treasures. You'll arrange cards carefully to complete scoring challenges. Players start the game with a blueprint. They collect 3 additional scoring objectives during the game and compete in a shared objective at game end. Map a path from the entrance to the exit of your labyrinth for additional points. Spend your money wisely on new elements for your dungeon. Stonespire Architects is for 1 to 5 players ages 10 and up. Plays in around 45 to 60 minutes. It's going to carry an MSRP of $44.95 when it arrives in stores on April 30th. Yes, this has a bit of a Dungeon Keeper vibe to it. Most certainly. Although, unfortunately, it does look as if they kind of recycle some of these monsters quite a bit from the cards that I've seen. Now, granted, I have not had an opportunity to see a lot of this game, basically what we're taking a look at here, but it does show, well, I should say, I think it's an image that I'm not using. It was kind of an overhead view, and it was showing, it looked like goblins, kobolds, and gelatinous cubes. And that was all of the monsters. In fact, looking here, you see there's a couple of gelatinous cubes in that one room. But I will say, this is obviously a game that is probably perfect for a multitude of expansions. I would think this is one of the role-player games, or I should say it takes place in that role-player universe. It's not really a role-player game, I guess. But I got to say, I have never checked it out. We've talked about role-player in the past. I remember my buddy Herman Lutman picked it up at Origins when it came out. He and some of his friends had demoed it a couple of times, and he said, oh, got to buy it. Gots to buy it. Sweet. Russell Hinn says, Carve, they don't let me use sharp objects anymore. Chris Lundgren says, they're glad to be here. It's a good thing. We all have rough health days. Yes, I have had some. Got the scar right here to prove that one. Yes. Wild Hunter says, hey, Jeff, thanks for my prize, the Dragonbane Bestiary. They've already used it in their latest gaming session. All the players are young, 16 to 25. Man, that's pretty wild when you get to say somebody is 25. Yeah, they're young. They're a kid. And they are on the autistic spectrum. They love Dragonbane. Very nice. You know, you should tell the fine folks over at Free League Publishing. I bet you they would love to hear that. Love, love, love to hear that. W Forge is with us tonight in chat. Good to see you. Good to see you. Chris Lundgren also says they noticed Drive-Thru RPG did the right thing today. They took Demons and Dragons down. Chris Gonnerman responded like a true gentleman. Felt bad for him that someone would do something like that. Copying his free game. Yeah, that's pretty shitty. Good to see Drive-Thru RPG, stepping up and doing the right thing. And depending on how long that had been on sale, that person who posted it probably will not make any money from Drive-Thru RPG for that, because it does take a certain amount of time for them to release funds. I think it's, well, as an affiliate, it's 30 days. So that person may not end up getting anything, which is good, which is very, very good. Dirty SOB. I don't tend to share a lot of video gaming news, But I wanted to make sure I mentioned Quilts and Cats of Calico, which is actually the digital edition of the puzzle game Calico, which is from Flatout Games and AEG. And yes, I know I don't talk about AEG anymore, but I don't think they have anything to do with this. I think it's simply Monster Couch and Flatout Games. And Calico is a really fun game. It is a really fun puzzle game. And my mom just absolutely loved it. So there is that. So here's the deets from Monster Couch and Flatout Games. Quilts and Cats of Calico is a cozy board game in which the player's main task is to make a quilt from patterned fabric scraps. By smartly combining the colors and patterns of the scraps, the players can not only score points for the completed design, but also sew on buttons and attract adorable cats who have their own preferences for bedding patterns. In Quilts and Cats of Calico, based on the board game Calico, you'll be immersed in a warm, cozy world full of cuddly cats. Here the quilt bends under the weight of their paws, and loud purring can be heard. It's a world full of patterns and designs awaiting the master quilt maker. There are also a few surprises for the Calico fans, like variations of the rules and mechanics that come into play during a campaign. In addition to the well-known gameplay scenarios, there are new ones awaiting to be discovered. Now, of course, there is a short launch trailer because this just came out on Steam. I believe it was 2 days ago, maybe 3 days ago. And it's just under a minute long. Let's take a peek.
Greetings, dear quilter. In the heart of the free city of Tom Kitty, where the hum of machines once drowned out the soft purrs of our feline friends, a change is in the air. You, a master of colors, patterns, and designs, are returning to the city. Your main task? To help us, the cat worshippers, by making beautiful quilts that our feline friends will adore. Combine colors and patterns and watch as the magic unfolds. And buttons. Use the right ones and your quilt will become a masterpiece. Create your own feline companion, a friend just as unique as your quilts. Watch them purr and play, responding to your gentle touch. Also, don't forget to take part in a campaign to help us, the citizens of Tom Kitty. It's a challenge, but with your quilting skills, we can bring back the warmth to our homes. And for those seeking friendly competition, you can play against others to be the best quilter of them all. So, my dear quilter, join us in Quilts and Cats of Calico, and let's bring back the coziness, one quilt at a time. Because with the right quilts, everything just purrs different.
Yay! You get to actually pet the cats in the game. That's pretty funny. Normally, Quilts and Cats of Calico will carry an MSRP of $19.99 over on Steam. But right now, you can save and pick it up for $17.99. So if you're not overly familiar with Calico, it's super easy to get into. You're simply drawing these scraps of fabric, and they have different colors and they have different patterns. So what you're trying to do is you're trying to put these in not necessarily rows, but you're looking to try to connect them. And then you'll actually have these different cats, which depending on how many in a row you connect, they'll come and sit on one of your scraps and you score extra points. And it's fun. We enjoyed it quite a lot. In fact, I'm sure my review is still floating around out there about it. So yes. So if you are looking for a relaxing puzzle game, maybe your significant other enjoys those kinds of things, I certainly recommend picking up Quilts and Cats of Calico. The reviews have been very positive over on Steam, and I got a code myself, so I am going to check this out in, I would say maybe this weekend would be a guess. So there is some discussion about the ass clown who had ripped off Basic Fantasy and how they're being scrubbed from the internet except for their website. Kevin R. Smith says that I guess this character, this is their MO, that he tends to rip RPGs off, and he's even done it with the Bible, passing it off as his own work. Yes, my name is James. I'm King James, by the way. Welcome to my website. Feel free to purchase my Bible that I've written. Enjoy. So there is discussion of that. Chris Lundgren says they don't do video games a lot, but they're addicted to Dragon's Lair on his wife's PS4. Brings back a lot of memories. Too bad it's not going to bring back all those quarters that you probably spent back in the day. Kevin R. Smith says this ass clown passes off the Bible as his own translation. Jeez. It takes all kinds, folks. You know what? We live in a society now where it's like the more audacious the lie, the scam, the easier it seems to be to get away with. At least this character didn't. All right, so let's talk about some role-playing game news. And there's a little bit of a theme between this and my next news piece. Because currently up on BackerKit is the Curious Cats of Meow for the Realms of Pugmire role-playing game. Here's the skinny from Onyx Path Publishing. The age of man is long over. Cats, uplifted from our clever feline companions to use tools and language, now rule the world. In the monarchies of Meow, cats study relics, the old ones left behind, to create new wonders, expand their understanding of the world, and combat the monsters and minions of the unseen that threaten cat kind. Curious cats explore ruins and set sail on the acid sea, or participate in games of intrigue against other houses, the dogs of Pugmire, and other rival species. The world is full of mysteries and dangers which excellent cats are eager to face. Welcome to the Curious Cats of Meow. I don't know if that's how it's pronounced, to be honest. I'm enjoying saying it like that. This book details the lives of the cats in the city-states that make up the monarchies of Meow as they explore the world, plan daring heists and feats of intrigue, learn what they can about the old ones, they're us, and pounce on these sinister entities called the unseen. You'll need Realms of Pugmire to play this game and learn more about the dogs of Pugmire, who have sometimes been the cats' allies and often been their rivals. There's a short crowdfunding video for the Curious Cats of Meow. So let's kick back and give it a watch.
The age of man is long over, and the cats of the monarchies of Meow have been uplifted from our constant clever companions to expand their understanding of the world, create new wonders, and combat the monsters and minions of the unseen that threaten cat kind. Curious cats explore ancient ruins, set sail on the acid sea, or participate in games of intrigue against other houses, the dogs of Pugmire, and rival species. The world is full of mysteries and dangers, which excellent cats are eager to face. I'm Eddie Webb, and welcome to the Curious Cats of Meow. It's a new supplement for the realms of Pugmire, my future fantasy tabletop role-playing game featuring the Onyx 20 system. This supplement focuses on the heroic cats that live in the ruins of our world. I know that there are tons of cat fans eager to get their paws on this, so me and my co-developer Lauren Roy made sure this book was a high priority. Although Curious Cats of Mao is no longer a self-contained game, this book has full character creation rules featuring the cat houses and brand new callings. It contains loads more information on each of the monarchies, as well as the sinister House Smilodon. It also has new and updated spells, masterworks, and enemies, as well as 3 exciting new adventures for guides to use at their tables. This campaign is to fund a print run of Curious Cats of Mao to put in game stores everywhere. And now's a great time to do that because it's Pugmire's 10th anniversary. Since I first started working on Pugmire back in 2014, it's been reviewed on high-profile websites, featured on popular YouTube channels, and made into an interactive novel, a card game, 2 fiction anthologies, and so much more. I know there's a passionate fan base ready to support a great source book devoted entirely to their favorite heroes. If this sounds like you, please pledge whatever you think is fair and spread the word to your friends and family who might also be interested. Because there are many excellent cats just waiting for your next move.
The project for the Curious Cats of Mao is fully funded. You can reserve a copy of the hardcover with PDF for a $55 pledge, or grab just the PDF alone for a $25 pledge over on BackerKit through March 21st. Expected delivery on the physical books is February of 2026. Unfortunately. For some strange reason, Onyx Path Publishing takes a long time to fulfill their crowdfunding projects. So this is not unusual. It is not unusual for them to fund something that the physical book is not going to come out for almost 2 years. So sadly, that is the case here. But I also understand that they'll release the PDF to backers pretty early in the process. So they will actually release like a beta PDF to their backers and keep sharing updates with them. Kevin King has joined us in chat. So this is brought to you by the people who really, really, really liked Puss in Boots. This is actually a new edition because there was a new edition of Pugmire that kickstarted. It wasn't on BackerKit, I don't think. I think it was a Kickstarter, if I remember correctly. And this is part of that game world. So this is part of the Pugmire game world. Obviously, Pugmire is dogs, and this is cats. So I don't know if the original edition would predate Puss in Boots, but it has been around for a bit. So at least 7-8 years, I would think. There you have it. So W4 asks, does anyone remember Courageous Cat and Minute Mouse? They ring a bell. I would have to take a look to see what the animation looks like. Kabuki Kid says they remember it, and Courageous Cat had a different gun for every occasion. Kevin King also pointed out that they're hoping that their daughter does not find out about this game. Moving right along, Modiphius Entertainment has released the latest adventure for Fallout, the role-playing game. Here's what I know about Astoundingly Awesome Tales, number 4, The Hunted. Although the cover says Hunted, strangely enough, Modiphius Entertainment has referred to this as The Hunted. I think it's probably just Hunted. Hunter or prey. Traveling the wasteland comes with many hazards, some of which are not entirely of this world. In this digital adventure for Fallout, the role-playing game, you will face one such otherworldly threat. A storm forces you to take shelter in a location held by raiders. But before the storm can pass, events go from bad to worse as a terrifying creature makes its lethal presence known. Tracking the unusual predator to a nearby Edamatoids factory brings you into contact with a gang of brutish super mutants who have also suffered attacks from the same creature. The climax of the quest is a deadly game of cat and mouse. See, there's a theme. Through the factory, as you hunt the creature to ultimately decide which is the predator and which is the prey. The Hunted PDF features a 17-page adventure in 3 acts for characters levels 11 to 16. Negotiate with raiders and super mutants. Investigate the abandoned Automatoys factory. Hunt and be hunted by a strange and deadly creature. This PDF does require the core rules found in the Fallout the Role-Playing Game core rulebook, but can be played using the rules and pre-generated characters also found in the Fallout the Role-Playing Game starter set. The 17-page PDF is available now over at DriveThruRPG for $7.50. Good to see more Fallout the Role-Playing Game content coming out. I guess this is number 4 for the astoundingly awesome tales. Pretty wild, pretty wild. Kind of short, though. It's only 17 pages. But I have to say, get a little more illustration than we're used to seeing in some of these PDF releases from Modiphius Entertainment. I also got to say that Modiphius Entertainment has just been cranking out the content left and right. And if you recall, the other day I said there was an announcement of a role-playing game based on a famous property, and I couldn't remember what it was. It's Discworld. And the reason why I didn't really delve too deep into it is it's not coming to Kickstarter until the fall. And there weren't any details. It was like, here's a logo. Here you go. We're going to do a role-playing game based on Discworld. Man, there is a lot to mine for that. That is for certain. Lord Cost 2000 and Death Angel Shadow are both joining us in chat. Welcome aboard. I'm surprised we've got as many people in chat tonight. What with the State of the Union address taking place in about a half hour here in the U.S., guess that's when everybody's going to say, all right, Jeff, I got to go. Oh, I don't know about that. Kevin R. Smith says, Modiphius has the Discworld license? Yeah, they're working with Sir Terry Pratchett's family. Death Angel Shadow says, all those cat things made me think of my coworker. Keep calling her a cat lady. All right, well, that is it for the cat references. But it is kind of funny how 3 news pieces in a row all had something to do with a cat. Cat and mouse. Carolyn says, nah, screw that. I'll still be here. Anywho, final news piece of the evening, now available in PDF for Old Gods of Appalachia, is Best Leave Them Ghosts Alone. Here's a scoop from Monte Cook Games. A terrible death long ago leads to terrible choices now. Attending the funeral of a childhood friend is never an easy thing. But when it's the funeral of someone you accidentally killed and then brought back to life years ago, well, you all have O's, and this one's about to come due. Best Leave Them Ghosts Alone is an Old Gods of Appalachia I know. I'm just messing around. Old Gods of Appalachia, horror adventure set in a small town full of memories, ghosts, and promises unpaid. This poignant adventure, rife with atmosphere, horror, and emotion, was an official Monte Cook Games event at Gen Con 2023. Funny enough, I should mention, I don't know if they changed it yet over on the Monte Cook Games website. They were saying that this was an official event at Gen Con 2024. So I guess maybe they went into the future. I don't know to get this. This is particularly well suited for use as a unique standalone experience. The Old Gods of Appalachia role-playing game is a horror game, and as such, is full of things that might disturb your dreams, follow in your footsteps, and haunt your waking hours. This adventure includes elements such as child death, grief, funerals, ghosts, and hauntings. All right, there's spoilers for your trigger warnings. So you have that. This 32-page adventure PDF is available right now over at Drive-Thru RPG for $4.99. Not too shabby. Not too shabby. Sarah D says they're going to turn 40 this year. Oh, you just a child. Says they don't think they've ever watched the State of the Union address. Why break my streak now? I tend to watch it. I don't tend to necessarily watch it live. I used to back in the day when you couldn't just watch it whenever the hell you wanted to. But I'll usually watch it just to see, what's going on. See who's yelling, liar! Like an idiot. And things like that. So, who asked the question? Where was it? What movie or TV? Oh, W4 asked, what movie or TV series or book series would folks in chat want to see get the role-playing game treatment? Well. I guess we could discuss that in just a bit. Now, of course, that was it for the news tonight. I was talking about Drive-Thru RPG for a couple of those news pieces. And of course, don't forget, the Gaming Gang, thus the Dispatch, is affiliated with the One Bookshelf sites. So if you are going to go visit Drive-Thru RPG, Dungeon Masters Guild, Storytellers Vault, Wargame Vault, what have you, please stop by thegaminggang.com first. Click on one of our banner ads. That way, if you happen to make a purchase, I will get a small portion of that sale. And all those nickels, dimes, and quarters really do add up and help keep thegaminggang.com around. Also, if you like this video, and maybe throw a comment out there when the video's over, make a sacrifice to the algorithm gods. If you like this video, if you dig the channel, if you find thegaminggang.com to be a valuable resource, hell, if you just like what we do, you can always stop on by paypal.me/thegaminggang and make a small donation. Hell, you can buy me a 2-liter bottle of soda. Refreshing. And I have to say, our good friends of the show, Agile Monk and the Madman, have recently stopped by paypal.me/thegaminggang and made not small donations. So a big thank you to them, and thank you to all of you out there who happen to use the banner ads and or visit paypal.me, the Gaming Gang. Sweet. Very nice. Very nice. So the dispatch will continue in just a few moments. But first, I think it's time for a brief intermission.
It's intermission time, folks. Time out for a delicious snack in our sparkling refreshment building. Every item a fresh, appetizing taste treat.
At the whistle, Elwood. Practice the free throw. Ow! Through the hoop, Stoop. This time, the old tap artist will help you. Don't shoot. Oh, you idiot. Don't you let go, fans. For man-sized pleasure, hang on to Falstaff and browse through that brewery sometime. You'll see it brewed with extra care, even to the cascading every brew over this Falstaff chilling tower to ice it down, and protect that famous Falstaff taste until you're ready to enjoy it. Go man-sized fans, lay up a good supply of Falstaff, unmistakably America's premium quality beer.
Want some Wilkins coffee before you jump? No! You miss a lot when you don't drink Wilkins.
You ever notice the way nobody ever says anything in elevators?
Face the front of the car, please.
You know why he says that? Habit. We're all creatures of habit. Food, for instance. What are we all going home to tonight? Spaghetti and meatballs, right? Potatoes, lots of starch.
Face the front
How
of the...
about a little variety once a week? Some light oriental dish, like chow mein. It's delicious, filling, but not too heavy.
Face the front.
Face the issue. Would it hurt any one of us to try a little chow mein tonight? Break the American food habit? Probably some tasty canned chow mein you could pick up at your grocer's. Of course, it's up to you. Don't let me influence you. I got no axe to grind.
Takes all kinds, huh?
Yes. I don't know if you could get away with that commercial at the end there these days, although it's not really insulting. I just don't think we would see something like that. So there you go. Kevin R. Smith says, oh my God, this guy would be stoned by right-wingers today. So there is discussion going on about TV shows, movies, book series, things like that, which people would like to see get a role-playing game treatment. And you know what? We will dive on into that tonight. Just have a couple of things I did want to mention. If you had voted in the Gaming Gang March Tabletop Role-Playing Game Madness, yes, last night at midnight Chicago time, the results came out. And I got to be honest, there were no big shockers. No big shockers at all. If anyone's curious, the biggest vote getter, and I think this had quite a bit to do with just the matchup, Cyberpunk Red. I was kind of surprised. I was like, holy cow, Cyberpunk Red, top vote getter. Dragonbane was another big vote getter, as was, I believe, Call of Cthulhu did pretty good. Traveler did pretty good. But if I remember correctly, I think they also had a bit tighter races. All right, so Wild Hunter says they've lost the feed. Well, I'm not showing any dropped frames here, but I am seeing it kind of jumping around. So I don't know. I don't know if this is dropped or not. Usually, we will see if like my internet went down, I would get you are disconnected from chat, and I'm keeping my fingers. I don't get that. As I'm saying, yeah, everything looks okay. Yeah, also I'd be like, oh shit. You know it, right? It would have to be. Oh, yeah, I think everything's all right. Everything's cool. Be like, boink. I have noticed, though, that some of the videos, I don't tend to watch the stream afterwards. I will take a peek at, I have to jump in so I can do the timestamps. So I have to watch a little bit of that so I can get the timing. And then when the video processes, which is like 9 hours, it'll add in ads automatically. And it's usually awful at doing it. But the only reason why I do it, let YouTube automatically do it, is because that way there's ads in the video when people are watching. Otherwise, there won't be any ads. So it'd be like, oh, well, what's the point of monetizing the video then? But anyway, I had noticed that we're getting some drops here and there. So it'd be like, I'm in the middle of saying something and then it jumps like 5 seconds. So I've seen that happening a little more often. So I'm like, But I think it's probably YouTube. Because remember, there's only 2 servers that YouTube uses as far as being able to upload and stream to. So there's the main one, and then sometimes when it gets a bit too crowded, I'll go to the backup for a few shows. Death Angel Shadow says they've got the Traveler 2024 update, still hunting people that want to play in person. Anyway, talking about the contest, trying to remember, there was one, the closest match was 3 votes out of, I think, 80, out of like 85, something like that, 83. And I don't recall what the matchup was. For some strange reason, I think it was Old School Essentials and the game it went up against. And Old School Essentials pulled it out by 3 votes. So just want to let you know, you can now vote in round 2. So the field has been halved. So there are now 32 games competing as opposed to 64. And there are some interesting matchups. Some difficult matchups there. Yes. So don't forget, there are 2 divisions. The Arneson division, the Gygax division. Kevin R. Smith says they're voting in round 2 as we speak. Yes. So Kevin King asks, where do you vote? Okay, so if you follow me on social media, I've been posting about it. But If you don't, you can actually go to the Gaming Gang channel and then click on the community link, and that takes you to the community page, and you will see that I have just recently, earlier today, posted a message, and that has the links for you to go and to vote. And if you're not overly familiar with how these elimination brackets work, please vote in every matchup, even if you don't care about the two games going head to head. Pick one of them, flip a coin if you need to. But you want to make sure that you vote in every matchup and vote in both the divisions, because there was a difference of it looked to be about 12 votes, or 12 people, I should say, voted in one division but didn't vote in the other division. Sly Blue Demon's with us in chat. So there you go. Kevin points out it's community tab under the Gaming Gang channel. Yep, that's where you will find it. And of course, if you follow me on Twitter or Facebook, you can find it there too. I'm on Blue Sky. I am also on Instagram, but it's just an auto post. I don't do anything really with Instagram. So it just automatically posts from the website over there. So there's really no interaction going on with that. Also, the game sale is going on. It's going to go on till the end of this month. So if you're not aware of that, go over to thegaminggang.com. You will see on the front page, you'll see Game Sale 2024. Just click on that. Sly Blue Demon says, just voted, sucks to see Mouse. Wait a second, hang on. Mouselita! Kevin says, according to the numbers, it showed him Old School Essentials trounced Champions, which is shocking to him since Champions does have a fan base. And that was the only superhero game that was in the running. It's the first matchup in one of the divisions is the one that was closest, where I want to say it's like 43-40. And it was the first matchup in either the Arneson division or the Gygax division. So, because funny enough, during this whole process, I had no idea what was, the vote count until the end. Just like now, go in, vote for the second round. I have no idea. I will not know until we see it at the end. Now, unfortunately, it looks as if the final, which will be the winner of each division going head to head, is going to end up being a poll. So you will see how many people have voted and who's leading and things like that. Behorn is with us in chat. Good to see you. Thank you very kindly for popping on in. So Chris Lundgren also said they used the links tab to go get their Return to the Starless Sea on Goodman Games. Now they have to go get some Mutant Crawl Classic stuff as well through the tabs. Not sure what you mean by the tabs. I don't know if you mean the links on the Gaming Gang in the article. I don't know, because that's with the affiliate code. So if you made the purchase over at DriveThruRPG through the link on the Gaming Gang in the article, yes, then that would count. If you went to Goodman Games and bought it, no. Nope. Jack Hanks is with us. Good to see you. Chris says, yeah, it's the link. So, what television show, book series, or what movie, I guess we'll say movie, wasn't it? Would you like to see a role-playing game for? Wild Hunter says they just voted. Yes. So everybody, toss out your thoughts. I know there was some discussion going on earlier about that, about what people would like to see. I think Space Above and Beyond was one. I got to be honest, I never watched that show. I was not familiar with that at all. And wasn't that syndicated? Wasn't that syndicated on WGN? I think. So Gerlin says Shannara or Farscape. Well, Farscape had a role-playing game. So there was a role-playing game for Farscape. Shannara, yeah, I could see that. Hey, if you want to go in that direction too, you could always go with another Terry Brooks series, Magic Kingdom for Sale. There's one. Let's see. Coco Beast says they'd want to see Thieves World, but as a series. Well, there was the box set for Thieves World. I don't think they ever did a role-playing game for, I'm trying to remember what they called the series. The series took place in hell. It was another one of those shared anthology series like Wild Cards or Sanctuary, Thieves World, which if I remember correctly, I think Thieves World was the first pretty popular shared world anthology. And then the one that was in hell popped up. And then, of course, I would think probably the most successful would have been Wild Cards. Death Angel Shadow says they miss watching Cubs games on WGN with Harry Carey and Steve Stone. I recommend, if you want a good laugh, go on YouTube and do a search for Harry Carey Cracker Jacks and listen to the story he tells about Cracker Jacks. And you'll start to wonder, why in the hell was he singing Take Me Out to the Ball Game? Because he seems to have a real animosity towards Cracker Jacks. Because you may not realize this, Harry Carey was an orphan. Yeah, he grew up in an orphanage. So a lot of people don't realize Harry Carey had a very bad childhood. Chris Lundgren says the A-Team would be a hoot as a role-playing game. Back to the Future role-playing game. I think that would be tough. But the reality is, if you think about it, you could probably take any time traveling role-playing game and make it Back to the Future. Just think. So as an example, we've got the second edition of the Doctor Who role-playing game. And there are even, well, there's no mention that it's like, oh, you could use this as Back to the Future. But they talk about how you don't necessarily have to have your party be the Doctor and his companions. They could be like Jack Harkness and have like that, whatever it was, like the time bracer that he wore. So Kevin R. Smith says they remember Harry Carey. Unfortunately, they only saw him past his prime. He was fine. He was okay. I mean, I was never one of those, oh my gosh, oh, Harry Carey. But then again, I was never one of those people towards the end when he was pretty bad. I wasn't like, oh, I hate Harry. Reality is, I didn't tend to watch a lot of games. I tended to listen to a lot of games. So my guy, like Pat Hughes and Ron Santo, that was my broadcast team. Although I liked Steve Stones, and Steve Stone's with the White Sox now. I don't watch their games. I do not root for the White Sox. I'm not someone who like hates the White Sox. I've talked about this before. I dislike the White Sox fans because they tend to be jackasses half the time. But so Coco B says, oops, I misunderstood. Yeah, Thieves World was done by Chaosium and later Mongoose. I'm not familiar with the Mongoose one. Wild Hunter says, yeah, they had the box set for it. I had it. I used to have that. Actually ran some of it too. How's about that? Remember, I'm always talking about how, I'd pick this up and read it, but never run anything. I did I did run some Thieves World. Wild Hunter says, Land of Lost or The Lost World are great, but we have plenty of pulp role-playing games for them. Sarah D says, Firefly already got the game treatment. Says she doesn't play role-playing games, but she wouldn't say no to source books for Supernatural, though. Well, they do have the Supernatural role-playing game with lots and lots of supplements, if I remember correctly. Used to have the Buffy the Vampire Slayer, an Angel that was out there. Did they ever do a Xena role-playing game, a Xena Hercules role-playing game with that dipshit Kevin Sorbo? Death Angel Shadow says, I don't watch Sox games. Russell Higgins says, nobody watches their games currently. No one goes to their ballpark, and nobody ever has gone to their ballpark. That's the big problem. That is another huge problem I have with White Sox fans. They just don't show up. Doesn't matter. They went to the World Series. They won the World Series. They couldn't even sell out the ballpark. I think they did for the World Series, but on the way to it, no. So, pretty sad. Jack Hanks says, the Pirates of Dark Water. Wild Hunter says, yes, there is a Xena and Hercules RPG. It's fun. I thought they made one. I thought they had. Chris Lundgren says, the only Mongoose game they loved and played is Starship Troopers Miniatures. Own a ton of it. Fun game, didn't stay out on the market very long, though. Mongoose has never been one to, how do I want to put this? Because I have nothing against Mongoose outside of, we talk about this all the time, being kind of pricey. I don't think they've supported the miniatures games that they've come out with as well as they could have. Because they do have that naval war game. Off the top of my head, I don't remember. It's not Rule the Waves. I don't think it's Fear God and Dreadnought. I don't think that's it. But they've got that. They had the science fiction, like Starship miniatures game. I remember that. Of course, the Starship Troopers. And none of them really caught on. I don't know if mechanically they were clunky or something, or if it was you couldn't get the miniatures. I don't know. I have no idea. Kevin King says, well, time to watch The Walking Dead, State of the Union. Don't be yelling at your TV, Kevin. That's all I ask. Deep breaths, relax. It's okay. Cadillacs and Dinosaurs, yes. There was a role-playing game for that. A good comic series, too. Wasn't really long, interestingly enough. I was very surprised that there was a role-playing game for Cadillacs and Dinosaurs because I think the series itself maybe consists of 4 graphic novels. The Horn asks, was there ever a Power Rangers tabletop role-playing game? There is right now. It's from Renegade Game Studios. Dennis Hassan is with us. So welcome aboard, Dennis. I think this might be a first-time visit in chat for Dennis. Says, oh, man, I never make it to these in time. Dennis also points out, great graphic novel. Yeah. Yeah, Cadillacs and Dinosaurs was cool. It was kind of pulpy. The hero was pretty cool. I remember that. I don't remember tons of details about it. So Coco B says, wow, I'm tired. It was Green Ronin that later did Thieves World. That's okay. That is a company that I really don't have a lot of experience with, Green Ronin Publishing. And once again, got nothing against them. It's just I've never really purchased anything from them. If I remember right, isn't Green Ronin the home of the Song of Fire and Ice, as well as Mutants and Masterminds? I almost said Villains and Vigilantes, but I don't think Villains and Vigilantes is out anymore. Cenozoic Tales was what the comic was called. Yes. Nice. Good memory. Good memory there. W4 says there was a Cadillacs and Dinosaurs cartoon show that was pretty good. I remember the discussion of them making it, but I did not ever see it. So Kevin R. Smith says, yes, A Song of Fire and Ice and Mutants and Masterminds is Green Ronin. Wild Hunter points out the original Thieves World was for multiple systems. Yes, it was, including RuneQuest. Gerlin says, no longer Fire and Ice. Yes, for Mutants and Masterminds. Who's got A Song of Fire and Ice? Because wasn't it built on, or is it just no longer around, that nobody's got a license now? Chris Lundgren says, what out-of-print role-playing game does everyone wish to come back in print and updated? Kevin says, Power Rangers RPG from Renegade, like I said, might be 5e based. I don't think it is. I don't think it's 5e. I think it's their own thing. I think the Power Rangers, G.I. Joe, Transformers, and My Little Pony role-playing games use the same system, and I think it's an in-house system. Because, to be honest, I couldn't imagine Renegade looking at doing any sort of licensing to do 5e. All right, so here we go. Is there a current version of Shadowrun? Come on, Death Angel Shadow, are you joking with us? You're playing with us, aren't you? Of course there is. Is it playable? Maybe not. So Jack Hank says no one has the license for Song of Ice and Fire. Dennis points out Star Frontiers. That's not a bad deal there. Kevin R. Smith says, yes, Shadowrun 6th World. Nobody likes it. Yeah, I was going to say, I just always hear people complaining. Carolyn says they do Fantasy Age. Yes, Age is the other system. That's what I was trying to think of. And I have heard good things about Fantasy Age. I have also heard good things about 13th Age. And then there's another game, another fantasy game it got a second edition recently. And I thought it was from Green Ronin, but it's not part of their Age system. Maybe it's from somebody else. Garland said they ran Shadowrun setting with Green Ronin's Modern Age. That's cool. Wild Hunter says the 100 would make a good RPG. I've never seen it. Maybe Free League. Kevin R. Smith says 13th Age isn't Green Ronin. That's what I thought. And I thought it's the other company that has 13th Age that did a second edition. Maybe, no, I don't think it's a second edition of 13th Age. There you go. Blue Rose. Yep. No, I'm not thinking of Blue Rose. I'm talking about something that they did a second edition of within like the last year. So Death Angel Shadow says back in the day they combined Cyberpunk 2020 and Shadowrun. W. Forge says they'd like to see the James Bond role-playing game reprinted. I am right with you on that. I think that is an excellent role-playing game. You could get rid of the Bond, or should we say bondage? We could get rid of the bondage and just use that as an espionage role-playing game, and it'd work so well. So well. And I got to say, the adventures that came out for James Bond were really good based on the various different movies, but they would change things. So Carolyn says Fantasy Age got a second edition. That's what I'm thinking of then. That's what I'm thinking. Because I know it wasn't a second edition of 13th Age. Wild Hunter says bring back Buffy. You know what? I don't know if that would go over very well. Because I don't think Buffy is that big a deal anymore. Just like, sorry for any of you brown coats out there, I don't think Firefly would go over too well either. Because I know the board game that came out was one of those board games. I'm trying to remember who it came out from. I think it was Gale Force 9. And it was like, oh boy, here it comes, Firefly. Then it came out and had a couple of expansions, and you never hear anybody talk about it. Wild Hunter says Indiana Jones role-playing game. Yeah, but you can do Indiana Jones with any pulp action role-playing game. I don't really think anything would stand out. Russell again says, what you talking about, Jeff? All right, so you ready? I'm going to piss a lot of people off here. Well, maybe not a lot. I've never understood the love that Firefly gets. I've watched it. I thought it's fine. And I also thought maybe if the show was so great, you people should have shown up and watched it in the first place. Then it may not have gotten canceled, huh? I'm joking. I am not joking about I just don't see the fascination. I'm sort of like, it's all right. It's okay. Seen a lot of shows like that. So, I mean, I don't get it. I don't get the fanaticism. Now I don't see any issue with you're a fan of the show and you wish the show had actually gotten like a full season and things like that. I'm with you on that. I get that. But there are some people who are just like way, way too deep into that show. And it's kind of like, yeah, okay. Russell Higgins says for Indiana Jones, just use Savage Worlds Rippers. Isn't Rippers a horror role-playing game, though? Sarah D says she's not offended. Disney owns the rights to Firefly now, and I don't want them to get any bright ideas about it. Ooh, we could make some ducats with that. Yes. Sly Blue Demon asks, is the Doctor Who role-playing game good? It is good if you're looking for a role-playing game that's not going to be super crunchy and also one that is not going to be conflict-focused at all, or combat, I guess, focused, I'll say. But yeah, they've done a nice job with that. I think the supplements that have come out for it, we talk about the source books all the time. We talk about the Doctor source books just being fantastic, at least up through the 10th Doctor they were. I don't know because I really haven't had an opportunity to take a look at the other Doctor volumes that came out because I know they've got the 13th Doctor. I think it's out in PDF, but it's not out in print yet. So, as Sarah D points out, the source books are a gold mine for Doctor Who. She loves them. W. Ford says, Cyworld always felt a little underappreciated. Loved the Bill Willingham artwork of Fable's fame. Talking about Tomorrow People. That was a show I never saw. Chris Lundgren says, Jeff, I'm with you. I've tried to watch it several times, never could get into it. And I like science fiction. You're not alone, not a hater, just bored. So share the hate at me, people, if you want. Well, I didn't hate the show either. I thought it was fine. I watched the 10 episodes. I've seen the film. And I'm like, okay. I don't think Joss Whedon stuff has aged well either, as he has not. If you know what I mean, jelly beans. Flaming Heron is popping on in as I'm getting ready to put a bow on this. But yes, I would say absolutely the James Bond role-playing game, I would certainly love to see make a return. I don't know why it never has. And remember, you can't copyright mechanics. So someone had once said that there was an espionage game that used the James Bond mechanics that was out relatively recently. Death Angel Shadow says, yeah, Joss is persona non grata right now. I think he'll stay persona non grata. W. Ford says, wasn't there going to be a Fables role-playing game? I don't know. Death Angel Shadow says Ghostbusters role-playing game would be fun. There was one from West End Games. I'm pretty sure it used the same D6 system as the Star Wars role-playing game. Chris Lundgren says Top Secret role-playing game. Well, there was a new edition of Top Secret. Which was like done for the clan. It's like, ouch. It was like, yikes. It's like, holy cow. I agree. Fables, I think, would be a really good role-playing game. That is one fantastic series. Although, I will say, I have not had an opportunity to read the new issues that had come out from DC. I think it was 12. I think, in fact, it might be this month that the final issue comes out, because Fables wrapped, and then you also had a period of time go by that, because Fables actually had some spin-offs. Not a bunch, but it had some spin-offs. And it wrapped up, and then about a year ago, all of a sudden, it was back, but it was going to only be 12 issues. And it is Bill Willingham. So I know Willingham did art for some D&D stuff in the past. So you have that tie-in. There was something else that Why the Last Man, I think would make for a good role-playing game, if you are familiar with that. If you saw the series that ran for a season and didn't get renewed, it was a lot different than the comic book. Now, I thought it was all right, don't get me wrong, although they made the main character, Yorick, to be a real ass clown, which he wasn't in the comic. He wasn't a dickhead in the comic. He was immature, but he wasn't a prick. But seemed like, you know, in the show, he kind of came across as a real dick a lot of times. So I was like, there you go. Gerlin says the comic was way better. Way better. Russell Higgins says Judge Dredd. I don't know if Russell Higgins is saying they'd like to see a Judge Dredd role-playing game, because there have been a few. In fact, they just had N Publishing did the World of 2000 AD, but I think they lost the license. So I don't think that's available for purchase any longer. And it's probably within about the last year. And it was weird because it was only out for maybe 3-4 years. And, you know, that's something we're seeing more and more of. We're seeing more and more games come out with a license for another IP, an existing IP. And they're only available for like 3 years. And then the license runs out and they're like, oh, okay, that's it. I was like, holy cow. There have been a few Judge Dredd role-playing games. I had one of them way back in the day. We're talking probably late 80s, early 90s with that. I can't remember who the publisher was, but I am pretty sure that the most recent was with N Publishing. And I think it used their what is old is new system. Chris Lundgren says, Goons and Ghosts is simple rules. That's kind of funny, Goons and Ghosts. W4 says, speaking of TSR, they'd like to see a Gangbusters reprint. I had Gangbusters. I actually ran a little bit of Gangbusters too. Probably no more than maybe 6-7 sessions. Sly Blue Demon says, not a fan of the licenses expiring when the Conan 2D21 expired. I dropped a lot of money on the books to get them. They're really good books too. So that was one thing you had to say about Modiphius Entertainment's Conan line, was that they invested into that line. They had some serious research going on for those books. I think part of the problem may have been that there were just so many supplements that were coming out. So, but from what I know, I mean, I liked the core rules. I thought the core rules were really, really good. Once again, 2D20, and it was crunchy variety of 2D20. Chris Lundgren says, Gangbusters BX is awesome. It's from Mark Hunt. Check it out. I have heard of it. I have not seen it. And if I remember right, don't they even have like a horror supplement for that? Kind of almost like a BX Call of Cthulhu? Wild Hunter says they want to see a basic role-playing version of Conan. The reality is, it is not all that difficult to port things over to your own game table. Now, of course, if you're looking to be, got to make sure that it is, pristine and exact. Okay, that won't be happening. But a lot of times, and this is what I talk about quite often when I talk about cribbing from one game to use in another game, I highly recommend it if you've never done it. So if there is a system out there, or a setting, I guess I'll say, a setting out there that you're super interested in, but the mechanics you've heard, well, I'll give you a great example. We were just talking about it earlier. Shadowrun. The latest edition of Shadowrun, from what I hear from everybody, it is a mess. I did review the starter set that came out 3 years ago. It was the last time I was at Origins. maybe even more than 3 years ago. And it was awful. I mean, it was just a mess. So I can only imagine what the core rule book ended up like. But that's kind of the MO for Catalyst Game Labs. Kind of half-assed. They do things kind of half-assed. They were super nice. Got nothing against them, but... So let's say you really want to do Shadowrun. Well, get Shadowrun. And what I would probably recommend is look at some relatively rules light system out there that's fairly generic and use that. And you can do everything you want. Because, I mean, I don't know about many of you out there, but my players like the tale. They like the adventuring. They don't really give a shit about the mechanics, because I certainly don't. You hear me talk about that all the time. Don't really care too much about mechanics, because I've never run across a system that I 100% loved and did not tweak in some respect. So even if it was a really cool setting, rules were crap, I would just plug it into something else. Russell Higgins says Cyberpunk Red. Yeah, Cyberpunk Red is, even though the core book is not laid out well, let's be very honest. In fact, there was somebody who hung out in chat, I think it might have been Omanal, who said that they had actually taken the PDF and cut it up and reassembled it in a far more logical manner. But personally, I think Cyberpunk Red is really well done. And it's got, if you like Cyberpunk, you have to own it. There's no way getting around it. You've just got to pick it up. Flaming Heron says, they don't know if Cyberpunk 2020 was laid out any better. Yeah, I think layout, presentation, well, the artwork for the games from Artel Sorian is fine. Although a little risque back in the day. A little too much sexualization of, the female body, especially for these days. But even The Witcher role-playing game, that was not laid out well either. But I forgive Cyberpunk Red for the layout issues because there is just so much cool stuff packed into their books. So there is that. Wild Hunter says One Dice is great for cyberpunk and steampunk. Really quick to learn and flowing in play. Chris Lundgren says the TSR modules for Conan were pretty bad back in the day. I never had them. I was long gone from D&D by that point in time. The Horn says, couldn't you use Cities Without Number for Shadowrun style? I would certainly think so, because it is cyberpunk. Now, granted, yes, you do have the magic and you do have the, various different species like elves and dwarves and stuff like that. But as far as I understand, because I'll be the first to point out, I have never really delved very deeply into any of the Kevin Crawford games out there. I don't own any of them. I would love to. I would certainly like to. But I think Kevin's one of these people who doesn't really care about reviews, which is fine. I mean, that is absolutely his prerogative. But I've said it time and time again. I don't have funds to go buy games. It's just not part of the equation. That's why you will not see any 5e D&D coverage. You may see the new books that come out. I may bite the bullet and get those. But as far as the other 5e releases, Book of Many Things, stuff like that, you're not going to see any coverage. They're not sending it to me. So you won't be getting it. Oh, Jesus, there's Chris and his cow punchers again. Telling you, he's invested money in that game. And then he retracts it. I'm only kidding around. Kabuki Kid says they own those Conan modules, and yeah, they weren't good, but they are collectible. Yes, they are. I saw the PDF, I guess I should say, I saw a scan of the Red Sonja adventure, and I didn't really read through the whole thing, like really focused, but it looked pretty crappy. Death Angel Shadow says the 5.5 ebooks. Yeah, not sure they're going to bite on those. Not going to call him 5e, though. No. Flaming Heron says, could I still ban him? He's got that ban hammer. He's all ready for it. Kevin R. Smith says they may grab the player's handbook, see what it's like, but they're more inclined to go with any of its successors, like Tales of the Valiant, Level Up, maybe even Cubicle 7's D20. Possibly. Anyway, so I wish I had an opportunity to, you know what, one of these days, I'll just go grab the free PDFs. Because if memory serves, I thought all three of Kevin Crawford's core role-playing games are available without art and without certain add-ons, I guess I'll say. But they're available as free PDFs. So I'm pretty sure Cities Without Number and Stars Without Number and Worlds Without Number are all available absolutely free. So there's that. Anyway, hopefully all of you are going to vote in the second round of the Gaming Gang March Tabletop Role-Playing Game Madness. Because you know, whatever role-playing game comes out on top, I am going to be running. So there's that. Lenny Blade is popping in just as I am wrapping up. Good to see you, Lenny. Thanks for stopping on in. Kevin R. Smith says, yes, it doesn't have non-human characters and a bunch of optional rules. Carolyn says, they've already voted. Chris Lundgren asks, is there a Journey to the Center of the Earth style RPG? Any steampunk game. At least that's what I would think. Any steampunk game is going to get you there. So Death Angel Shadow asks, so where do I go to vote? Inquiring minds want to know. So on the Gaming Gang channel, if you go to the community tab, click on that, you will see that I've got some March Madness posts. There are 2 divisions. We are now in the second round. So we are down from 64 games to 32 games. So 16 are left in each of the divisions. And just like the March Madness that takes place in the NCAA, we're having you vote. And I have no control over it. In fact, the first round, I didn't know what the vote totals were going to be. I was as surprised as everybody else when I got to see them last night. So pretty nice. Wild Hunter asks, why can I not vote for macho women with guns? Well, you got to keep in mind, every one of those games that have been listed, I either have or I would have access to. So I did toss out the Cities Without Number, the Worlds Without Number. I did float those out there because I know I can pick up the core rules of them for free. All righty, that is it for this time out. If you like this video, by all means, please give it a quick thumbs up. Subscribe to the Gaming Gang channel if you haven't already. And if you do subscribe, don't forget, ring that bell, because it'll not only let you know when the Dispatch streams live Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday evenings right here on YouTube at 7 p.m. Central. It'll also inform you when I share other videos, such as the upcoming first look at Salvage Union from Leyline Press. We're going to take a look at this, and then I will have another video which will feature the 3 books, I think they're all adventures, that have come out for Salvage Union as well. So that is going to be this weekend. Stay tuned. If you were watching live, thank you very much. If you watched live and took part in chat, big tip of the cap, because of course, you're not only keeping me company, you're keeping each other company. But of course, I also know a lot of people out there, they don't have an opportunity to watch live. Doesn't matter if they're watching live or on Memorex. Thank you very much for taking time out to watch any of these videos. And of course, I will be back on Tuesday. So I hope you enjoy the rest of your morning, afternoon, evening, whatever time of day it is in your neck of the woods. Enjoy the rest of the week. Have a great weekend. And of course, as I mentioned, I'll be back Tuesday. I'm Jeff McAleer. And until I see you next time, I certainly hope all of you get to enjoy plenty of great gaming with your gang.